Bakhram Murtazaliev. Post-fight thoughts. Let's go.
Push the weight and flex. Flex alive is 1 in the 6. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You were running, motherfucker, high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker, never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker, change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Well, it was over before we got our feet wet, wasn't it? First of all, it was it's a pretty solid PBC card on Prime. It's pretty solid. Let's talk about what we saw. Wow. I came in as the fight was ending. The good brother Stormy B-Man called me. He said, "Are you watching this?" I said, "I just walked in the door." And I walked in the door at the end of round 2. I said, "Oh my God." And round 3, it was over. So let's I've rewatched it 2 times since. Let's talk about it. Bakhram showed up and he showed out. And he wasn't playing games, man. The first thing I noticed was he was significantly bigger than him. As far as, they made weight. But I'm talking about his stature. The second thing you notice that he was smart in that ring. He picked his shots. The footwork was on point. And he couldn't miss with that left hook. This guy's significantly strong. He has a better ring IQ than Tim Tszyu. But I want to take y'all on a journey back. Who's the fella that Tim Tszyu fought? He fought this fella. What is this fella's name? The fella's name was Terrell Gausha, I believe. Terrell Gausha, he dropped him in the first round. You remember that? That was in 2022. I think that was 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. 2022. Terrell dropped him in round 1, and it was sort of like he said, "Oops, I didn't mean to do that." And it was with that fight I said, Tim, very anxious running in there. He's a strong kid, very anxious, and he ran into something. I said, it's like Terrell did that out of reaction. He did that because this is what he's used to doing, repetition and training. If you ever box, there's just certain things you do out of habit because you learn that in the gym. And Tim ran into the punch and he got dropped. It was a flash knockdown. He wasn't like hurt or nothing like that. But I said, I don't like that. And after that, Tim, I guess he goes on a tear. He fights Tony Harrison. He stopped him. Then he knocked out Carlos Ocampo. He beat now watch this, y'all. He beat Brian Mendoza, right? He beat Brian Mendoza. But why am I pointing that out? Why do you think I'm pointing that out? Brian Mendoza knocked out Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno. Brian Mendoza knocked him out, right? So when he got in there with Tim Tszyu, I said, man, Brian, he could expose Tim Tszyu to a new look, show him some different things. Tim Tszyu fought a really good fight, and he won unanimous decision. It was split decision. No, it was a unanimous decision. It was a unanimous decision. And I said, okay, Tim, he's no longer Costa Tszyu's son. He has his own identity now. Then he gets in there with Sebastian Fundora. There's a little accident in the ring where, Fundora hit him with an elbow to his head, and the bleeding wouldn't stop. And, I spoke on that. Tim Tszyu's corner failed him. That's what happened. His corner failed him, and it goes to the cards, and he loses on the cards. So Sebastian Fundora is running around with a belt now. So this was supposed to be his return. Now, a lot of people are not familiar with Bakhram. You know, a lot of people aren't familiar with him. I decided to get educated on him when this fight was announced. First thing that jumped out was that he's undefeated, right? I think he was 22 wins. Well, he's 23 tonight, and he had 16 knockouts. So that's a decent KO ratio. Now, if you look at his resume, you might not recognize a lot of people, but, you know, listen, the American audience, I mean, there's only a handful of us that pay attention to things like that. He's 31 years old. You know, I think he's 31. He's a Muslim, right? He's Russian, but he lives in Oxnard, California. You know, so one thing at the top of the broadcast that jumped out at me, and I have to do some more research on this, ladies and gentlemen. He took step-aside money 5 times. He stepped aside 5 times for things to move around at 154. Now, I have to do more research. But he took step-aside money 5 times. So when you take step-aside money, that means you're allowing a fighter or two to get some things done because there's bigger money involved. It's like, yo, look, you're the lesser guy, but you're the mandatory. But why don't you take this check to let this fight happen? Because, you know, the powers that be, the company, or this guy, they feel that they can make more money doing this. And, you know, you deserve it by way of the rankings. But, you know, you just need to step aside. And we're going to pay you for that. We're going to pay you. We're going to compensate you greatly. So he was told to step aside. He was asked to step aside 5 times, which means they're paying you to sit out and let another 2 fighters do what they do for the benefit of business. But they pay you for your time. Now, let me remind y'all of something. And I said this on Stormy's show earlier. Alito Alvarez. Alito, I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. He was asked to step aside a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. Again, if I'm wrong on that, correct me in the chat. But I remember he was asked to step aside, and it was a reference. He was at 175, and it was a reference to Kovalev and somebody else. Well, Alito Alvarez finally got his shot. No more step aside or get my shot at Kovalev. If you go back and watch the first Alito Alvarez and Kovalev fight, he beat the crap out of Kovalev. And it's like, oh, that's why they wanted him to step aside and let Kovalev make these bigger paydays and stuff. When he finally took advantage of his opportunity, he beat up Kovalev, the crusher. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if they paid this man 5 times to step aside, that means everybody, management, trainers, fighters, they knew exactly who Bakhram was and what he's capable of doing. And you're looking at it now. Now, I'm going to say this. This was a behind beating. There was no part of this fight that Tim Tszyu was winning. Is his career over? I want to hear what you guys have to say, because nowadays, when a fighter loses like this, a lot of you start screaming about he should retire. I wonder if Tim Tszyu is going to get that same type of energy. I wonder. Y'all gonna say that about him? I mean, Devin got dropped by a guy that was juiced up. Got up, finished the fight. He did not look like Tim Tszyu at all. He did not look like that. He finished the fight on his feet. Okay? Tim Tszyu was cornered through the towel in. Should have threw it after he was eating those left hooks. I mean, this was crazy work here. It was so one-sided. Guess what? Do you want to see a rematch at this point? Nah, I think Tim got some work to do. He needs to add to that corner. learn some better defense, and like I said on Stormy Show earlier, being tough isn't always the best thing, man. You got to be able to think. Now, he got rocked so bad, maybe he couldn't really think in there. He got tore up, man. Now, am I going to say his career's over? No. I've seen people get slept worse than that. Manny Pacquiao got slept really bad against Marquez the fourth fight. He got slept really bad. He came back and had some good moments after that in his career. So I'm not going to say Tim Tszyu is finished. I don't think he needs to jump back in the ring with Bakhram right away. No. Is Tim Tszyu a marketing scheme? No, I'm not even going to say that. These guys just run into their kryptonite. Now, granted, you know what? I'm not even going to say the drug dealing things. I mean, not the drug dealing, the popping dirty of the, I'm not going to put that on Bakhram because, again, this is a Russian fella who's what? A devoted Muslim. Islam is up right now, aren't they? My goodness. Inshallah, right? Allahu Akbar. He was screaming that at the end of the fight. Allahu Akbar. Hey, man, you deserve it. And just like that, he got another player at 154. Now, was this in the cards for the PBC? Probably not. Because now this guy's dangerous. You leveled Tim Tszyu. Now, right away, you're wondering, man, Jermell Charlo coming back to 154. Does he want this smoke? Well, this guy's there now. The winner of Fundora and Errol, Bud. There's a lot of work now at 154, and just like that, things are exciting. This is why we're supposed to love boxing. This is why. And just like that, there's a new player in the game. Y'all remember Street Fighter? A new challenger is entered. I mean, come on, bro. It don't get no better than this. But salute to Tim Tszyu. And, I don't think his career's over. But you fair weathered fans are. His career's over. And it's not over, man. Relax. It's not over. But he needs to go to the drawing board and learn some things. Defense is one of them. It's tough, don't win fights, man. You got to think outside the box, man. You got to think outside the box. So, shout out to Bakhram, man. Thank you for shaking things up. We love things like this, man. We love it. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Bronx on deck.
Move!